So it's creating our app service plan. Okay, so that rounds up app service documentation. So that is done now. Let me pause. Hello everyone, so we're going to try and deploy our Azure SQL Server from Azure portal, and as well as with the use of Terraform. So what I'll first do, I'll go over to our Azure RM provider. Let me close this and search for SQL database. Looking for SQL database. Okay, so let's try and copy this. Go over to our Terraform configuration file. Paste this. Let's say, give it a name. MS. Say SQL Server. The SQL Server as the name. I'll use, am I recording? Hope I'm recording. You use our locals. You can maintain our locals, say local dot location. Local dot resource group for location. You say local dot location. Then for our admin name, you give it a simple admin name. Call this SQL admin 1. And our password, let's give it a simple password of Azure at 123. Okay, then we close this. Free F1. So what else? A free F1. Record here. Click on save to save this. Okay, then to add our database as well, we can also try to deploy it from our portal. Let's go home. We click on home. And click on SQL. about that. I was distracted. So let me refresh this. Okay, worker. And try to deploy this manually. Let's come back here to our Azure RM provider. Now this is our database. So we need to go for the SQL database and copy this. Hit on copy, come back to our Terraform configuration file, paste this, create a name, you call it the you can call it yes, we include this for the database. For server ID, you can say Azure SQL Server.id. Okay. And then for our database, you can say data. What's the name of our database? SQL underscore database. What? Database. .id. Okay. So let's click on Ctrl S. Let's run the terminal. Let's see, hopefully there won't be any errors. So let's say Terraform plan. Let's see, we wait for it to create a plan. Doing this with Terraform. We can also try to do it with our portal as well. So recording fork. So we are creating an SQL database server straight from the Azure portal. You call this server and you can call it the Maxim. So let's do Maxim, the cloud ace server, cloud ace server, Northern Europe. Authentication method. Use Entra only for authentication. You can use both. So use SQL authentication only actually. So for authentication we can say SQL admin 2. For our password we can say Azure. Let me enter our password. So our password can be Azure at 123. Copy that, come back here, paste, okay, then click on OK. So we can use any of them, but I use SQL authentication to authenticate with our SQL database management studio that has just finished downloading. So I'm going to have to install this. Install this software. Install this software on Microsoft. Yes. So while this is installing, I'll minimize this and continue what I'm doing. So let's choose the cheapest local redundant backup storage. Next, on networking, you can say public access endpoint so that it will be accessible over the public internet. And then for our firewall rules, you click on add current client IP address, you click on yes. Then for connection policy, you allow that as well, yes. And for security, using our free trial. Ooh. This is quite expensive. Okay, I didn't configure this here. I will not allow the elastic pool. For the workload environment, you can choose the workload environment is development, local redundant storage. For this, I'll go for the, let me click on configure. So we have different, we have the DTU, we have our, you see what I'm saying now. So for our service tier, we have our DTU, can go for basic in our DTU. So that is that. For our DTU, okay. For our less consuming workloads, click on apply and click on next. Click on next. Starting free trial. Click on next. So it's our SQL. Our SQL database. You can configure a ledger, but I won't for now. In additional settings for our collation, we choose the Latin general, or we can decide to find a location, a collation as well. Use existing data for backup or sample. So we click on none. For our maintenance window, for next for the tags. No need for tags, this is environment. You can see development. You click next to review, then can click on create. So this will manually, this will validate, then to now create our resource on SQL database via this resource group. Then come back here to our Terraform file. It's also add an SQL Server. You can also go on to add the database as well too. So if you come down to our database, our SQL database, you can copy. Okay, then you can see this depends on my SQL server. New SQL database. Database 333. Then for our server ID, I'll locate this server ID, that which is SQL underscore, what's the name of our server, underscore server dot ID. Okay, we go Control S. Now we'll say this depends on so let's clear this terminal. Clear. Cycle through our commands again, and let's see what it will give us. Hopefully there won't be any errors. Then we go back to our database, our server. Well, you can see the deployment is still in progress, and the deployment has been completed for our SQL. Click on go to resources. And okay, our management studio is still installing. So this is our database, the elastic pool. We have our server name as well, basic. How I create our Power Platform and Power Apps, Power Automate here in Azure. From now to, let me check on my calendar: Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So this is our SQL server with our file. So what else can we do here? We can also implement our firewall. We can set server firewall to enable connection into this our SQL database here. So if you see here, there's no firewall here. Okay, so there are no errors at all. 2 to add, 1 to change, 0 to destroy, no errors at all. So what I need to do is hit on Terraform apply and it will go through. But let's see, let's find our database here and try to configure our firewall here. So we have our database on our Cloud Edge server working perfectly here. Cloud Edge server is working very perfectly here. The next thing that we need to do swollen up our boinky bum. Wow, that's a bad in my life. Go for a got it. Amen. So we are recording now, and one more thing we need to do, I also need to include the IP address. I believe my IP, what is my IP? Let me Google it, say what is my IP. So let me see, what is my IP address? So my IP address, this is my IP address. So click on copy, control. Then let me paste this somewhere here. I'll close this. We'll now go to the firewall. There is a firewall resource here. So now we need to do is copy this entire Azure RM resource block, go over to our Terraform configuration. Let me kill this terminal. So the next thing that we can do, enter our firewall. Now here, this is where we will now include, let me give this firewall a name, SQL_firewall rule. Okay, name firewall rule. Then for the resource group, we are going to use our local dot resource group. Okay, then for our server, this name of our server is SQL_server dot name. Okay, this is not correct. Let's check on our locals. Yeah, I say locals, our resource group. This is correct now. Yeah, this is correct. Then we now include our IP address for our PC. Oh my god, where is this thing? Control A, Control C, come back here. Where is this? Let's paste this as well. Then we can even add a depends on clause. Depends on our SQL. It depends on our SQL server. depends on our SQL database. As well. I'm going to Control S, go over, save this file, remove our terminal, enter our terminal. Let's see to create a plan. Hopefully there shouldn't be any issues. Okay. So we can also manually do this from our portal. So let's just deploy the server and the database first. Let's create a plan. Azure Terraform apply. So we allow this to create and work while we wait for modifications. So as soon as this is finished deploying, we can go on to other things. Let me check my wait for this to deploy and create. Okay, so it has created, it has done what we needed. Let's go on and check our maximal resource group. Finally it has done it. Let's go over to our resource groups. You should see our server database and our SQL server and all our databases there. SQL server is here and our database is here, everything is here. So in this server we can even configure our firewall settings as well. So let's try to configure our firewall settings. If you can't do it on Terraform, you can try to add it manually on the Azure portal. So I can add my firewall here, add a firewall rule. I can add my client here, and that's that, simple as that. Once I add the client, it's IPv4 address and everything else. I then click on save. So this, my machine or my computer or my laptop will be able to access this database through the database management software. I need to restart my PC later on. So that's that.